You need to use this because I know I've been there too. There's that temptation to be egotistical, the temptation to be angry and frustrated and just be like, listen, here's why you're wrong. It's so stupid. You're such a fucking idiot. You're wrong. Listen, I'm right because I use the Socratic method. You're wrong because you're a fucking idiot. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's me back with another video. I feel like I say this at the beginning of every single video, but today is again another video that I wanted to speak about that is super important. And this is something that, again, I also feel like I say this at the beginning of a lot of videos. It's like a little hack or a trick, but honestly, this is something that's not going to feel intuitive to everyone to begin. But this is something that the more you kind of get going, you'll see that it's incredibly valuable in terms of how to learn to speak to people, how to get information out of people, but also how to make sure that your information is heard in a way where they don't start from a place where they're super hostile. So first of all, on that note, I'll kind of begin with talking about exactly what the problem is and how we get to actually fixing this problem. Let me also remind you guys that if you guys are beginning to like this content, you guys are beginning to derive some value from the things that I'm saying, please feel free to like the video, comment down below. I always try and respond to every single comment that pops up on my videos. So anything you say, you'll hopefully get a response from me personally. I'll do my absolute best. Also ring the bell so that every single time I upload, you guys will get a notification either to your phone or to your computer. That will remind you guys that I'm out here and that I'm giving you guys some value to help you guys in your lives with anything that you want to know. Again, my mission here is to bring all of you guys up to kind of Spartan level, the level where you go out and you pursue your mission, you pursue your goal, you leave a dent in the universe, and all that potential you have, you turn it into something. Because there's too many intelligent people that have not done anything with their lives because they haven't had the determination, they haven't had the motivation, or they just haven't had the tools, the tips, and the tricks to actually act on that potential. So I believe ultimately on this channel that what you can become, you must become. And so with that said, let's jump right into the video. So what's the problem? The problem is that when you're trying to get ideas out, especially ones that conflict with ideas that are already put on the table by other people, or when you're trying to understand the ideas of people who genuinely kind of conflict with your own ideas about how to navigate in the world, the issue is that your brain will reject some of those ideas. It will reject hearing what people are saying, but also, the more importantly, I think, is that people will reject what you're saying. And the reason why is because you're beginning in a hostile environment. When people start speaking at each other, you start to realize that the ideas actually aren't getting across in the conversation. Now, another issue is, let's say you have a point that you want to get across, or you see, because you use the Socratic method, let's say, right? You see that what they're saying makes no sense. Maybe this is an argument about politics, or this is an argument about something more personal, or maybe this is something talking about how do you want to advance your business. You're speaking with a business partner who's unwilling to hear what you have to say because they are coming at it from one side, you're coming at it from another, and they're unwilling to hear what you have to say simply because you have conflicting opinions and they have a big ego, let's say, which isn't a bad thing, but they have a big ego and they're not hearing what you mean and what you have to say, even if it's beneficial to your business. What you have to do is this, and it's going to sound simple, but you have to try doing this. Okay? Approach a conversation as if you are trying to learn. And even if you're not trying to learn, at least fake that you're trying to learn. So let me explain a little bit about what I'm saying. First of all, let's start with yourself. When you approach a conversation as if you are trying to learn, what's gonna happen is that you're going to put your ego down for a second, again, which is a very valuable tool. I don't think many men would accomplish big things or leave a dent in the universe unless they had a big ego to do so. So I'm not bashing ego altogether. But what I am saying is that when you approach a conversation and you think to yourself, okay, I'm gonna try and learn, I'm gonna try and gain from what I have, because consider the fact that you probably already have a lot of information on board, okay? If you're someone who's watching these videos, you're interested in learning, you're interested in improving yourself. So naturally, you're gonna be someone who has a lot of kind of information in mind, right? But if you go and approach a situation as if you're trying to learn and you constantly trying to remind yourself, especially during a conversation, you're gonna wanna assert yourself, you're gonna wanna tell people your opinion of why they're wrong, why they're idiots. That happens all the time, right? Again, you're a very well-considered person, so what's gonna happen is when people are speaking to you, you're gonna wanna tell them that they're wrong, but you need to approach this conversation again. Remember, remind yourself, and I know it's hard when you can get emotional, but remind yourself you're trying to learn. Because when you do learn something, when you even if it's not learning from the content, you're not even be learning from the content of what they're saying, but you might be learning again how to tolerate content that isn't necessarily well thought out. And when you do that, you'll be better received. And I'll get to that point in a second. So think to yourself, I'm trying to learn. And it might seem silly, but I'm asking you guys to actually try this. When you're talking to someone who you might not necessarily agree with or you have conflicting points, do your best to try to learn, okay? That's what you're thinking to yourself. So as you think this, your brain becomes more receptive because you're taking on board the idea that what this person is saying or what you're gaining from this conversation might not even be, like I said a second ago, might not even be specifically what they're saying, but the fact that they're saying it and you guys are disagreeing with each other. When you think to yourself, I'm trying to learn, you're gonna increase your capacity to learn because you're gonna going to turn on that part of your brain that's actually interested in hearing things, and you're going to be able to sort through the bullshit, sort through what's good, and when that comes into your brain, you're going to have a better ability to then speak with truth and filter your own bullshit out when you have your turn to speak. So this is really the first component. The first component about I'm trying to learn, and you tell yourself that. This isn't just an attitude. This is something you literally tell yourself. This is like a mantra in your head when you feel yourself in opposition with somebody else, that you're trying to learn something from this conversation. You're going to take things on board, and you are going to walk away slightly more learned, with slightly more understanding than you would have if you were just constantly trying to shout your opinion down someone's throat. And again, if you guys are really disagreeing and you know you've used the Socratic method, you've arrived at a conclusion by following its premises to their logical conclusion, and they're just simply not doing that, then you already know you're gonna have a hard time reasoning with this person if they're not someone of that mind. You already know you're gonna have a hard time, so try and at least get something out of it, especially when you're in a position or they are in a position where it serves you to at least pretend to be interested in what they're saying. So again, tell yourself, I'm gonna say this throughout this video several times, I'm sure, but remind yourself, okay, I'm trying to learn, I'm looking to learn, I'm seeking to learn. Tell yourself these things, and slowly you're gonna begin to take things on board that, again, isn't necessarily the content, but you're gonna get better at listening, or at least appearing to listen, which is a huge strength. Now comes the more juicy component of this. This is the component that I think is most valuable of what I'm saying today, okay? When you want to show someone that they're wrong, okay? So what you're doing now is you're taking your own points and you're going to try and package them into this beautiful little package where they may not even realize that you're just out-reasoning them and out-arguing them at every corner. You're going to present it into a package where their ears are most likely to receive it, and you're going to help them arrive at their own conclusions. Now, what you're going to do is, let's say, for example, you have a political opinion and your interlocutor or the person you're speaking with has a different political opinion about something that you know you're well-reasoned and your logic is solid and stable, okay? You go into this conversation and you say things like this, and I do this all the time. I do this all the time, okay? Anyone who's close to me will know this. My business partners will know this. My best friends will know this. My mom knows this. Everyone around me knows this, okay? I go into a conversation and I say, listen, like, I really don't know very much about the subject. I'm just looking to learn. Hopefully, like, you can explain some things to me and we can go back and forth, and I can hopefully develop a more educated position on the matter, kind of like the one you have. Okay, that's how it starts. Because what this does is it allows people to think, oh, I'm teaching someone. And again, I talk about turning on different parts of the brain, but it turns on this part of the brain where they want to talk to you, and their ego, they have an ego investment in saying things to you in a way where you understand it, because everyone likes to be a teacher. Okay, everyone likes to be a teacher. Not everyone likes to be a student, but everyone likes to be a teacher. So you put them in that position from the beginning. You put them in this position of, you're a teacher. Okay, so help me understand this, okay? I don't understand X argument, okay? I don't understand this point when you're reasoning with a business partner. Like, I don't understand exactly why you want to do this. And then they start to explain it to you in a calm way. You're not arguing because, again, you're the student. You're putting yourself as the inferior in their eyes. You're the inferior, they're the superior. They're going to teach you things and you're going to learn things, okay? But again, keep in mind, in your mind, you already know, listen, my argument is the one that's ironclad. Your argument is silly. So let's just work through this and see who's right at the end. And by the way, it's not just about arguments. It's also about just discussions where you want someone to see your perspective. But the thing is, the best way to do it, it might not feel the most gratifying because you want to stop people in argument and in debate, fair enough. But when you want them to go with you or understand your point truly, it's a shame, but that's one of the sacrifices you need to make. You need to sacrifice the fact that you're not going to look like the triumphant one necessarily, but we'll get to this in a second. So you're going to say, listen, I'm looking to learn. Can you explain to me how this makes sense? And they're going to say, you know, A, B, C, D, E, they're going to start explaining things to you. But the thing is that even though you don't necessarily look like you're in the right, they're going to eventually arrive at the conclusion that you want them to arrive at, hopefully, okay? So you're going to say, listen, I don't understand how this makes sense. And they're going to say, well, they're going to explain A, B, C, D, E, and you're going to say, okay, well, you know, if we follow all these premises, doesn't it lead to this wild conclusion? And then, again, the fact that they've been told that they're in this teacher position is going to make them want to kick into explaining things further, and they're gonna, I'm sure you know this already, but you know, when you begin to explain things to someone else, that's when you really learn them. And that's what we're using, that's what specifically the linchpin that we're using to have them understand why they're wrong. And so you're gonna say, okay, sorry. And again, you're not doing this in a patronizing way. You're not saying, oh, okay, so if A, B, C, D is the case, then how is this the case? You're not trying to patronize them, right? You're just saying, oh, well, okay, let's work through this as a team. A, B, C, D, E, but how does F follow from that? And then you could say, I'm just trying to understand. So sorry, walk me through this again. Because when I speak to someone and I want to defend your cause, right? So now you're positioning it as if they're so accurate and so right, and you look up to them so much to a degree that you actually want to champion their view, which is ultimately like the greatest ego gratification they could have. You know, you're going to say, but how does this follow from this? And this follow from this? And you in your mind are using the Socratic method. And again, you're packaging this all in this beautiful package of, I want to learn. And when you do this, again, people are going to have to look through their premises, arrive at conclusions, and you're going to constantly point out how, hold on. We as a group, you and I, that are on the same team, we can't present this to our enemy. We can't present this to our opposition because they're obviously going to say that this is a problem. But the problem that you're pointing out, as if your opposition was saying it, was the real problem that you see, because they might not recognize you're actually the opposition. You don't agree with their points. but they're giving you the opportunity to hear you, and they're actually working with you. And the thing is, they're gonna realize that their own premises do not lead to the conclusions they think they do, because you're introducing these oppositions, which are really your argument, but from a position of, let's work through this together, both teacher and student, to try and figure out how we can argue against our hypothetical opponent. Again, this is a tool that's so valuable, guys, the I'm just trying to learn thing, both internally and externally. It's so powerful, and I know you guys might be thinking to yourself like, oh, okay, this is no big deal, right? I'm just going to pretend like I'm always trying to learn and do my best, but as soon as a real argument comes up, no, I need to stand up for myself and assert myself. You guys need to understand that you catch more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. Okay, you get more people on your roll when you're nice, or when you present it as a way where you're being friendly, or I'm just trying to learn, please help me, I'm but a symbol student, right? And this is the kind of thing where, again, if you want your opinions really to be heard, you need to use this. You need to use this, because I know I've been there too. There's that temptation to be egotistical, that temptation to be angry and frustrated and just be like, listen, here's why you're wrong. It's so stupid. You're such a fucking idiot. You're wrong. Listen, I'm right because I use the Socratic method. You're wrong because you're a fucking idiot. You might want to use that, but honestly, that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get your point actually heard. And when it's something like a business and a business decision that needs to be made, you need to have the best tools to get your well-reasoned conclusions out and into the atmosphere, not just frustration and beating people down with your opinion. Here's why I'm right, here's why you're wrong. It doesn't work, I'm telling you. So anyway, guys, today was about the I'm just trying to learn kind of tip, trick, conversation tool that actually gets your opinions heard. And remember, even though it feels good at the time emotionally, it feels good at the time to tell people they're wrong and tell people, oh, no, here's what I think, right? People have an ego investment in what they're saying that might be beyond their ability to reason. And so they're gonna keep pushing for their perspective. And you see this all the time in modern politics, right? Where people push for their position, even though it's not well reasoned at all. People have this such huge ego investment in things that you need to work around that. You need to navigate that, and you need to disarm that. And you disarm that with this method. So next time you want to get your opinions heard, you want to get your opinions actually acted on, or have someone, anyone, it could be a family member, friend, business partner, like I've said, act on something that is well-reasoned that you've come up with, for example, right, that you know is well-reasoned or you think is the right way to go. Use this tool to see if you can disarm those walls and those defenses that actually get your opinion heard. And I want to remind you one last time, this isn't yielding to someone. This isn't yielding or appearing weak. Because at the end of the day, maybe it could be years down the road, if you really want, I don't necessarily suggest it, but if you really want, you can even admit your strategy to someone later. You can say, you know what, I knew this was right all along, but I had to speak in this way, or I spoke in this way because that's the only way I know you would hear me. Obviously, keep in mind that kind of disables your ability to use this strategy later in the future, so I wouldn't use it too often and I wouldn't divulge it, right? A magician never reveals his secrets, but this is something that I found to be tremendously helpful. And if you find this tremendously helpful too, please, like I said at the beginning of the video, like the video, comment in the video. I try and respond to every single, I do respond to every single comment in the video, at least at the time of this making. I respond to every single comment that I see pop up in that comment section. And please ring the bell below, because that'll let you know every single time I release a video. This video has been about the I'm just trying to learn method, something that I've kind of realized in the last 5 years or so that I've used that's absolutely had my decisions begin to steer the ship a little bit more, because I know how to disarm an otherwise hostile captain. I get my reasoning a little bit more out there that has a little bit more justification and legitimacy because people are willing to hear them, right? I know I'm rambling now, I should let you guys go, but the tool is this. You have the right reasoning, sure, but they may have the authority and they may have the position that's actually steering the ship. Now, if you want to say, I want to go left and they want to go right, you need to get their ego investment out of, oh, someone's had a right decision that wasn't mine. It wasn't my decision. The captain will be upset maybe. The captain might be embarrassed. Someone who's not him, and it might not necessarily be the captain, it's just you want your opinion to be heard by anybody. But the point is, there's two components, okay? There's disarming their ego and there's showing the logical conclusions. Most people just want to show the logical conclusions and they want to argue and get emotional. You need to disarm the ego first. Otherwise, it'll never happen. It won't matter. And so this specific tool is about that first part, is disarming the ego, okay? Like I said before, if you want to see any more content from me, just let me know in the comment section below. And remember that what you can become, you must become. I'm out.